I certainly agree with that. I definitely agree with that. My policy priority was not stacking, or like when someone goes in to try to get them to have a plea. So a
Hmm.
lot of times they'll stack a bunch of charges that may not stick, and someone who that's going to disproportionately impact someone who doesn't have access to a lawyer, or a good lawyer, or a lawyer all the time. They're all maybe a
Hmm.
public defender who's limited in time, and they go to this guy and they say, hey, like, you got, we're going to stick you with all this stuff, and they don't know what's going to stick and what's not going to stick, so they'll
Hmm.
take a plea, and that plea could be higher than what they would have gotten if they were better resourced legally.
Hmm.
So I think that's not a lot of people are in prison who never went to trial and were proven guilty. They just took the plea deal, and
Hmm.
sometimes they're manipulated that way. So that's one way, and another way is I've had a number of friends actually who had been arrested for things that they shouldn't have done,
Yeah.
but stuff that, like, I don't know if it should have ruined their life. And it kind of, I don't want to say it ruined their life, but it really was a big setback, even years
Hmm.
after, when they were trying to rehabilitate themselves. So, expungement
Yeah.
and protection so that they can get in the workplace, at least in most cases. I do think we have to make it maybe improving, compared to maybe 50 years ago. But I think there's still a ways to go, and we can help people be rehabilitated. We have to be the juvenile system is better for that. It's
Hmm.
focused on rehab, not punishment. So I think,
Yeah.
just more broadly speaking, we have to think about rehab and not punishment. But
Yeah.
I agree on the private prisons thing. I've actually read a number of reports how it works, and it's bad, and you're setting up yourself up with bad incentives.
No, definitely. And I think that a lot of the issues come from having private prisons, even having a DA overcharge defendants. Like, I just have this feeling that it all comes from having, or the incentive of incarcerating people. But then again, you have a lot of people that are not really educated on the justice system itself and how brutal the justice system will work to keep people that can't really afford a defense incarcerated. And
Right.
uh, that's really bad that we have this system that, depending how good socioeconomically you are you going to end up in prison or not? Now, I think that we may differ in that. I think we need to be tougher on crime, but we need to make it proportional, because I
Mhm.
think we're very easy on crime, but if the charges don't meet the punishment, what are we doing there? Now we over punish people for minimal crimes, but then if someone commits a serious crime, then we're easier on that. It, it,
Mhm.
it's tough because now we get into an environment where there's a lot of disagreement, that I could say, like, we need to be tougher on crime, and people may think, well, we're already tough enough, but there's certain things that could work.
Well, I think you're right. I actually agree with you on that.
Mhm.
So there are people in the Democratic Party who would maybe be, um, I don't know, who would not so much agree with us, but I agree with you. I think you need an effective. I think you need effective policing. Yeah, I wasn't like for defunding police, even though
Mhm.
there were obviously things in there that were correct. But
Yeah.
you need good, effective policing, and you have to have punishment. I like I just said, you want to be focused on rehabilitation, but you have to have real punishment. So for me, and I think we're to some extent like this, but what's important is certainty of punishment. Not
Right.
necessarily, you don't have to hang somebody, but
Mhm.
you can, if somebody knows, like, look, if I do this and I get caught, I'm gonna get a punishment, and
Yeah.
nobody's gonna come lobby for me to, like, now. I think, going back to kind of what we were saying before, if somebody does something on Team Red and it's wrong, Team Red's going to try to spin it so that it doesn't look so bad, and vice
Yeah.
versa. Team Blue's going to defend Team Blue even if they commit a crime. It's like, oh, my person's not, maybe it's wrong, but so when you have a climate like that, I think that's no good. So you want people,
Mhm.
if you're, no matter who it is, and that's another kind of thing I have. It's not really in my criminal justice section, But we
Yeah.
need to have basically in the judicial system, you mentioned having a two-tier legal system that's on financial lines.
Yeah.
And I think that exists more so in reality. But we need to have a partisanship also. Like Team Red is not correct just because it's Team Red. You shouldn't just like try to deflect off that and run your own stuff. People they should be held accountable, and it should be